global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news.
Hello, great people. Welcome back to our channel. Still talking about what had transpired yesterday in Rivers State, talking about the Federal High Court judgment stopping revenue for Rivers State. It has attracted a lot of reaction. Fubara himself has spoken about it during the Thanksgiving service. But however, officially, the Commissioner of Information has given an idea of what is about to be done. But first of all, he says they were expecting it. And the big question is, why did they say that? He had given countless reasons why what they saw yesterday was not a surprise to them, but they have decided to take a very stringent move. Let's listen to full details of the news.
Now, the Rivers State government has filed an appeal against a recent Federal High Court ruling in Abuja that barred the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, from distributing federal allocations to the state. Now, recall that on Wednesday, Justice Joyce Abdul Malik of the Abuja Federal High Court declared that Governor Siminalayi Fubara's presentation of the 2024 budget before a four-member Rivers House of Assembly contradicted constitutional provisions. She criticized Fubara's ongoing receipt and use of monthly federal allocations since January, calling it a constitutional violation that cannot be permitted. Justice Abdul Malik further ruled that the implementation of an unauthorized budget by Fubara amounted to a severe breach of the 1999 Constitution. Now, the ruling also prohibited the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Accountant General of the Federation, Zenith Bank, and Access Bank from granting Fubara access to funds from the Consolidated Revenue and Federation account. In delivering her judgment on the case, marked FHC /ABJ /CS /984 /2024, Justice Abdul Malik stated that the four-member House of Assembly faction supporting Fubara, which he cited to validate what she termed an unlawful budget, had already been invalidated by the Federal High Court and Abuja Court of Appeal. The court reaffirmed that the Amawele-led assembly remains the lawful legislative body as ruled by the Federal High Court and upheld by the Court of Appeal. On Wednesday, the government house in Port Harcourt saw heightened activity with various groups, government officials, People's Democratic Party supporters, and other stakeholders gathering, resulting in significant traffic in the vicinity. A widely circulated video captured a closed-door meeting at the government house involving Finance Minister Wake Edun and other officials with Governor Fubara. The State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Joseph Johnson, confirmed an appeal has been filed and expressed confidence that the appeal court would overturn the judgment. He stated that signs indicating the likely outcome were clear, and they remain calm, having already challenged the Federal High Court's decision. He said, and I quote, "We saw this judgment coming the way it did when the trial judge refused 23 council chairmen as joined us, refused the state to change their lawyer, and refused our objection challenging jurisdiction of the Federal High Court." Johnson added, "The judgment has already been appealed, and I believe that the Court of Appeal will upturn the judgment. We are not panicked, and there is no cause for alarm." Johnson cautioned that if the Court of Appeal upholds the judgment, local government employees will be impacted. He said, and I quote, "If it is anything to reckon with, it will impact negatively on the civil servant at the third tier of government. It will affect teachers' salaries and all that are attached to the council's salaries. So I can't imagine how anybody would advocate for the stopping of funds that will bring development to the local government councils and also pay those who work in the council. It is a legal problem, and you cannot take it out of the court, particularly when you are a defendant. That is not how the law operates. This matter is one that is in court and will give justice to it. So let us stop all these shenanigans because it is not going to take us anywhere. It is the state that will suffer, and in this case, the local government staff. Those were the words of Joseph the communication guy. What's your take on all of this drama that is really unfolding?
Well, it's quite interesting, some of the things that he has highlighted. Now, first of all, he pointed out the fact that everything that they did, Joyce Abdul Malik, the judge who was in charge of the case, was refusing it. And one begins to wonder, why? Why were you so adamant about it? Because unfortunately, one of the things that makes useless of judiciary is when you bring in your emotions into it. You hear one part of the gist and then you are so conclusive about it and you just want to stand on it without allowing Nigerians to enjoy the judgment. You understand?
When you say emotions to it, I begin to wonder, is she a Riverian? She's not even a Riverian. So why is she emotional about it?
No, though she may not be a Riverian, but considering the fact that Golden Boy of Judiciary is involved here, and you know who he is. You can't imagine Wike talking to someone about something and you come and give your own vision. Everybody seems to be believing him because by the time he said that, when he was governor of Rivers State, everybody was like, man, this is the best guy ever that had happened to Rivers. He will be very, but none of us knew that the civil servants were never promoted. For the 80 years he had been in office, it was never spoken of. Nobody even raised eyebrow in that area. We're never told also that he never implemented the minimum wage. Nobody talked about it. We saw some high-handedness, but everybody was kind of justifying it. It was all right and all of that. So imagine such a person have the opportunity to talk to someone about you, or, it was so fast. I've listened to some of them talk, on media about Fubara, talked about things happening in Rivers State. Come on, you can't fault them, except you sit back and have a history of how this thing all started and all of that. That's when you will know, this guy, he's just giving me something that would justify. So I think that's exactly what had happened. They will go and they'll say things like, imagine, despite the fact that the court had allowed, legitimized these guys, imagine till today I have not paid them salary. Can you imagine that kind of come on, that's what we're going to see. So for me, I may not really blame judge, but the only thing is that being an experienced judge, try to allow emotions, keep emotions aside, because unfortunately, whatever you are doing, you're going to serve as a precedent,
I have one more question. Wale Edun, he came visiting. He came visiting as at the time when they're saying stop all allocations. That's one. Question is, why did he visit, and why is it that all of a sudden Fubara is unperturbed, even though his communication guy is saying, look, if eventually we go to appeal and they don't upturn this verdict, the local guys will suffer. Where do you think Fubara is getting his confidence from? Because he mentioned with confidence that it will not be stopped. They will keep paying the local guys their salaries, the local LGAs will still getting their funds. Where does he intend to get these funds from if eventually this whole thing goes south? It doesn't favor him and his government.
Now, as of yesterday, a particular body, an agency, talked about the states that can sustain itself without a federal allocation. And there were just two. It was Lagos State and Rivers State.
So, but why would Rivers be willing to let go of their resources and the...
It's not going to be like that. First of all, if we want to go by the federal system of government, just like so many people have talked about, economists have talked about it, it is the state that gives money to the central. The central will accumulate it and will equitably distribute it. That's why when this guy was talking about this issue, Imo State lawmaker Ikenga Ogochinyere, he said something very specific. How can you be starving the people that are behind all the laughter and the happiness in Nigeria? You come to their backyard, you get oil money, and you refuse to give them even a kobo, and you feel that you're going to be comfortable over there. After a while, by the time they start noticing it, there will be reaction. But guess what? I feel that Fubara has a lot under his sleeve to release, but come on, this is not the right time. Let's just allow the thing to flow. The only thing I'm just waiting to see is when they appeal this case, there's going to be a stay of execution. Because if you refuse stay of execution, then it's personal. So by the time you refuse stay of execution, and this case span beyond just this month, it gets to 2 months, which means that the people are not going to be paid. Just watch out what will happen. Automatically, you're triggering something. That's why I say Joyce Abdul Malik, as respected as she is, she should understand that there are some scenarios that you can even try to talk to the parties involved. Say, can you settle this? Because I know the impact this will have on the people. She may be enjoying 300% increase in salary, but don't also forget that we have people who are earning very little from the local government and from the state government. And for you to say, we'll come to your backyard, drill this thing and go away with it, and we won't pay any of you salary, nothing will happen. Or more, that is, you're trying to push them to the wall, and the reaction, I tell you the truth, will not be interesting. So I'm hopeful that at the end of the day, they will sit back and reconcile this thing. And also, some of the things that what this guy said, Johnson, Commissioner of Information, said, it should be considered again. Introduction, there were going to be some joined us in the 23 local government chairmen, apart from the 23 local government chairmen, joined us in the area of this. And come on, even the local government chairman, you're trying to stop their this. On what grounds? Elections have been held. And we already know that it is provided in the Constitution that the court does not have any right to restrict any election. Yeah. It is not the State House of Assembly that have the right to tell. Supreme Court gave an order.
It doesn't have the right to stop allocations of.
Do you understand?
In case of Lagos versus Lagos State versus federal government. In the time of and reign of Bola Ahmed
Tinubu. So what are we saying? How can you come up and you're talking about that a common state of House of Assembly is trying to overturn Supreme Court? And apart from this, these guys are not even who they are. I feel with time, a lot of things will be uncovered, and Fubara, who is standing by the side, or Fubara, who has God on his side, may come out smoking at the end of the day.
Well, let's see how it plays out. We keep keeping you updated as it keeps coming up. That's